excited that I'm the only Treloar ex-pupil to talk tonight, because it gives me a real opportunity to tell you a bit about what Treloar has done for me. I think most of you realise the fact that I don't have any arms and the age that I'm at is that my mother took the drug thalidomide back in the 60s. There was 458 thalidomide babies that were born that still survive. Luckily for me, I come from a very strong family. My father was an ex-war Marine, and my mother was an ex-matron. And I have a brother who's 13 years older than I, and 3 sisters, and apparently I'm the baby of the family. And when my father was told that his baby brother had been born without the arms, he said, well, it doesn't matter, we won't play cricket for England, but he'll play football for Spurs. And that was the attitude, really, right from a very early age that my family had about my uniqueness. And when we moved up from Andover, I was born in Winchester, we moved to Leighton Buzzard. My dad was a baker, and we lived above the bakery. And for the first 3 or 4 years of my life, I learned how to use my feet to do all the things that you do with your hands. So writing and drawing, originally, I was a foot painter. And then at the age of about 4, the medical profession decided it would be great for us to all be fitted with lots of aids and adaptations. And I got my very first pair of gas-powered arms when I was 4 years old. And when my father was told I was going to wear gas-powered arms, he sort of imagined that I had a 6-foot bottle of gas that I had to drag everywhere behind me. But if I can hit like this. But it was about the gas bottle was about the size of a milk bottle, and it was strapped to my back. And by moving my shoulders up and down, I could do very silly things. They drove me mad because they took so long to do everything. 2 very negative things about gas-powered arms. Obviously, if you carry the gas around, eventually it would run out. And very often, I'd put my hand up to ask a number of questions at school. Put my arm up that last time, the gas would run out, and I'd have to walk home with my arm up in the And the other thing that was really bad about gas-powered arms, you can cook on it, you know it hisses. Everyone thought I had terrible flatulence. Every time I did something, when my arm went up, I sort of went. So I got rid of them quite quickly. And they were quite an expensive piece of kit, but it was obvious that I could manage without them. But then at about the age of 10, you start thinking about how you look compared to your other mates at school. And I was offered this new pair of arms, and they were called cosmetic arms. They didn't have any mechanical bits, they just sort of hung down by my side. But you could move them manually, and my sisters used to have great fun in sticking my 2 fingers up and making me walk down the high street, and they buzzed. But on the first day I got them, I put my school uniform on, and I looked in the mirror, and I looked like all the other kids. They had fingernails, and they had veins, and I said to my mother, could I go and show my friends my new arms? And off I went down the road. And I realised as I was walking along, these arms swang back and forward. So obviously, as an ex-Royal Marine son, I was marching down the road. And then I realised not only did they go back and forth, but they went 365 degrees all the way around. So I was going along playing helicopters. And unfortunately, the bolt of the shoulder came undone, and my arm left its sleeve and landed in front of this old lady on the park bench. And we had to have the fire brigade out on their hands and knees looking for this very special handmade bolt, and the ambulance for her heart attack. But she didn't. So educationally, really, I was a bit of a failure. I went to a very posh prep school down in Upfield, and my mum said, really, typical boy, I got away with as little academic subjects as I could. And then the local authority suggested maybe I should go to a school over in Alton somewhere. And my mum always tells a story about my school, Tufton Road, that I used to go to. It was all people with Rolls Royces and Daimlers, and my dad had a mustard-coloured Austin Allegro or something. But we went to see this place in Alton, and my mother, on the way back, I was sitting in the back, and the conversation went, my mum said, I really don't think this place is for Tom. You know, I heard one of the boys swearing, and there was another one smoking at the back of the garage. And now she says it was the best thing that happened to me. And of course, the place I went to when I was 11 was Treloar's. Still, really, not that academic at Treloar's. I did the basics, but the thing that Treloar's did give me was my love for art. And I had a fantastic art teacher called Alan Wild. And we did everything, scene painting and ceramics and fabric. And so I think it was an obvious choice for me when I left Treloar's at the age of 18 to go on to carry on that career. So I went to Hastings College to do a foundation year and then my degree at Brighton. And then I went back actually to Treloar's and worked for a number of years. But while I was at Brighton University, I was introduced to a group called the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists. And really it's the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists that have given me my career, my income for the last 30 years. I put this as one of my paintings. I put it in because it's very apt because it's a glass painting, and I thought it was being at the Claims it would be quite interesting to show. So the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists is an amazing cooperative of 800 artists in 80 countries around the world who all earn a living through their painting. It was founded by a German man called Erich Stegmann, who was born in 1912, and at the age of 3, he was able-bodied, but at the age of 3 contracted polio and lost the use of both of his arms. And his family really didn't think he could do anything. And he had, I think, 5 other brothers and sisters who would all be coming back and doing their homework at the kitchen table. And when he was in his teens, he picked up a pencil and wrote his name. And the family just sort of looked and stared in bewilderment that he could write his name. And they realised that he had a brain, and so they took him off to school and then to art college. And he would very often be seen painting in the local towns and the cities. And he'd be standing there in an old smock and an old painting hat. And on one occasion, it got hotter and hotter and hotter. And he sort of bent forward and dropped his hat down on the floor and carried on painting at his easel with his mouth. And after a couple of minutes, he was suddenly aware that people were coming and putting money in his hat. And he realised not only were they putting the money in his hat, but they weren't actually looking at the painting he was producing. And of course, it struck him that they were giving him the money because of his disability, the fact that he was disabled. They weren't giving him the money because of the quality of the image he was producing. And he felt that was so wrong. He said that he, being done the same training as any able-bodied artist, you know, why they could earn a career, money with a career in painting. So disabled people should be able to do the same. I'm looking around for my timer. She said there's a timer.
It's over here.
I'm good. I could be going on for another 3 hours. Yeah. Am I nearly there? Yeah.
There you're.
No, I'm there.
Right, got about 3.5 ounces to go.
3.5 ounces. Okay. So Stegmann founded this group of 17 artists in 1957 and explained to this group from all over Europe that he wanted to make a company, a business. He didn't want anything to do with charity, and the idea would be the artists would paint the work, the company, the association would print their cards and calendars and wrap and paint those books. They'd be sold to the public, and the money would come back to the artists. So from those 17 artists, as I said at the beginning, we now have 800 artists in 80 countries around the world. And in fact, in 2 weeks' time, we're off to Barcelona for our worldwide association. And it's one of the things in my life that I'm very proud at, and the fact that I'm in this amazing group of guys that all sit at home mainly in their own studios, but once every 3 years we come together and we meet each other, and I sit on a table with a Chinaman or an Australian or a Canadian, and it makes me realise what an amazing association our association is. I'll just show you a few pictures. First one that was Silk Flowers was mouth painting. And just in the last couple of years, I've gone back to doing some foot painting, and this is a very different style. Foot painting is a bit more freer for me than it is. I'm a bit the word is anal really when it comes to painting. I like straight line and colour. 5 years ago, one of the things I've always wanted to do is to build my own home. And I built a house down at the bottom of Treloar Drive. I've never left Treloar really. And out of it came this idea of accessible holiday accommodation. So we built a project, we started up a charity called Flat Spaces. And we have built down near the railway, steam railway in Alton, this amazing accommodation for people with severe disabilities who might need hoisting into bed or they might need air mattresses and things like that. And our first year had 68% occupancy, and this year, from the 1st of March to the end of November, we're completely booked. And it's shown us really there is a massive need for accommodation for people with disabilities. So we're now looking for plots of land around the country where we'll build the same product. So a bit like Treloar Talks, you know exactly what you're getting, although Flat Spaces is 4-star accommodation. And these are the websites and the information. If you really have a problem with sleeping, insomnia, I suggest you go on the website, read my biography, that's enough for anyone to sleep. MFPA.co is the map for painters, and Flat Spaces is, I'm just talking about. But one thing I would finish with is just to say that, Treloar's did make a massive difference to me as a student. I was a very, very lazy student before I arrived at Treloar's. And with the right staff and with the right pushing in the right direction, I believe that we can all accomplish many different things in life. And I think for people who just sit home and do nothing, they all need to attend Treloar's. Thank you very much.